So now the fourth talk article, the last one is the imaging in pregnancy. It is again 2019 talk article. So basically, we are going to discuss different imaging methods, ionizing radiations, ultrasound, MRI, and contrast one by one, and see what is safe in pregnancy and what is not safe in pregnancy. Okay, so in ionizing radiations, two modalities come in ionizing radiation. One is radiography and one is the CT scan. These are the short wavelength radiations. X-rays and gamma rays are used in both of them. It has two types of effects: stochastic effects and deterministic effects. So what are the stochastic effects? Stochastic effects causes carcinogenesis like leukemia, lymphoma, and at any dose, because it changes the cell shape and cell line. So even sometimes at a minimum dose it can cause carcinogenesis. And deterministic effects are causes loss of tissue function, fetal malformations, FGR. Effect depends on dose and gestational age. Like in stochastic effect, at any dose it can cause, but deterministic effects are depending on the dose and the gestational age. So obviously, most of the malformations are if patient is exposed to ionizing radiations in the first trimester of the pregnancy. So this is a table for some common radiological investigations. The first one is the very low dose examination. Okay, very low dose are X-rays usually, cervical spine X-rays, which are away from the baby. Cervical spine X-ray, chest X-ray, radiograph or X-rays of extremities, mammographies, head and neck CT. These are away from the abdomen. It has very low dose radiations. Okay, and not more than 0.01. Now the second category is low to moderate dose radiations. So low to moderate dose radiations are near to the fetus: abdominal X-ray, lumbar spine X-ray, CT chest or pulmonary angiography. Okay, low dose perfusion scintigraphy, technetium 99 bone scan. So in this you have seen the maximum range is 3, which is abdominal X-ray milligyri 0.123. Now the higher dose in which the radiation is from 10 to 50 milligyri, in which abdominal CT, abdominal X-ray was in the low to moderate dose, but abdominal CT is in the higher dose examinations. Pelvic CT, abdominal CT, because it directly affecting the baby, and it gives the highest fetal radiation dose 10 to 50 milligyri. So depending on this table, we will read the next table in which they tell us which dose is safe. So lowest dose, very low is less than 0.1 milligyri, low to moderate 0.1 to 10 milligyri, and higher dose is 10 to 50 milligyri. Now look at this table. They have, this is a summary of deterministic effects by gestational age. Okay, so look at the, if 0 to 2, uh, look at the first table and then at the last table. First table is given about gestational ages, and the last table is given estimated threshold. What could be the most threshold? You need to remember this threshold at each gestation. 0 to 2, the threshold is 52,000, 100, sorry, and 5 to 10, the threshold is 200 milligrams. 11 to 17, the threshold is 200 to 50 milligram. With the increasing gestation, the threshold is also increasing because there is a less risk of fetal malformation. You do not need to remember each and every point. Basically, you need to get an idea that in the first trimester, till 5 to, you can say 20 weeks, sorry, 5 to 10 weeks, 200 milligyri, it is the estimated threshold disease, sorry, estimated threshold dose. And effect of effect of less than 50 milligyri, there is no effect of less than 50 milligyri. So remember the abdominal X-ray, what was the dose in abdominal X-ray, fetal radiation dose, abdominal
10
X-ray?
to 50
10 to
milligram.
50 milligram.
4.1,
Moderate.
4.1 to 10.
Yes, 0.1 to 10
4.1 to
milligram.
10.
Look here,
Milligram.
abdominal X-ray. That was abdominal CT 10 to 50. Okay, point 1 to 10. And what does this say? Less than 50 milligari, there is no effect. Okay, so you do not need to worry. All even the most higher one is 10 to 50. So less than 50 has no effect. So 50 to now the effect of 50 to 100 milligram, 5 to 10 rates. So it probably none uncertain. Usually it is very less effect or uncertain effects. The most effect starts if the radiation dose is more than 100 milligram or more than 10 radiations. It can cause spontaneous miscarriage, congenital anomalies, fetal growth restriction, neurological problems, IQ, mental retardation. Okay, so less than 50, no effect. 50 to 100, there could be some effect. And more than 100 milligari, obviously there are many effects. Or more than 10 rates. You can also, the question can also come rates. So in most of the, you will also learn throughout in most of the radiation exposure, they say until unless it is benefits out, if the benefits outweighs risk, then this is a simple rule you will give. Even in cancers, if they see the gadolinium can be given, and CT scan you need to be done in the case of cancer, because the benefits outweighs the risk. So according to the scenario, most of the time you will allow to go for the ionizing radiation, but obviously with the use of some protective measures which we will discuss here. So ionizing radiation, we have discussed the two things come in it: chest radiographs and CT scans. Chest radiographs, as we already know, it is even are safe to do. It comes in very low fetal radiation. CT scan can be used if needed. Fetal radiation dose is highest when the fetus is captured directly in the X-ray beam. For example, when using abdominopelvic CT. Okay, but still it can be used if needed. What about IV contrast agents? IV contrast agents carry the small risk of maternal adverse effects and fetal effects. Okay, what are the maternal adverse effects? IV, sometimes we have to go for CT scan with contrast. Okay, then, what are the maternal side effects? You must know include nausea, vomiting, flushing, and anaphylactoid reactions. And what are the fetal effects? These contrast agents can cause the placenta and can enter into the circulation. But again, we have no human studies, and animal studies show no teratogenic effects. Okay, but so if we need to do, especially for cancers or any life-saving procedure, then we must do it. Okay, so who will tell me what are the um, what are the effects of IV contrast on mother?
It causes nausea,
nausea,
vomiting.
vomiting, flushing, and an anaphylactoid reaction.
Okay, and what are the effects on baby? Does it cause teratogenesis?
No.
In animal
It's
studies is
it's
shown that there is
Yeah,
no.
animal studies. Okay. So, and what about the chest X-rays? Are they safe or not?
they
It
are
Safe.
is safe.
safe.
They are absolutely safe. Okay. So, and when it is, at what time is the most risk in doing CT scan? In what type of CT scan is babies at most risk?
Abdominopelvic.
pelvic CT scan.
Yeah, when the baby is affecting directly. So follow ALARA. What is ALARA? As low as reasonably achievable, because we do not have many studies, so always follow ALARA. Not only in ionizing radiation, but in all other modalities. What comes in ALARA? First is use lead sheets. Second is plan scans. How monitor length of scanning? The length of scanning should be minimized. Increase the voltage and decrease the pitch will increase the radiation dose. Pitch, I think it is somewhat a ratio between the oscillation of the particles and the movement of the rotating table, like that. um, but only you need to remember is that if the pitch increases, uh, the dose of radiation decreases. It is vice versa, it is opposite. If the pitch decreases and the radiation dose increases. So if to reduce the radiation dose, we increase the pitch. then what will happen? The results will not be good. There will be more artifact and the low resolution images. But sometimes for higher BMI and those for cardiovascular implanted devices, we need to higher the pitch. Theta
Dr. Tapa, can
radiation
you
goes
repeat it?
about pitch.
Yes.
Yeah, pitch is basically a ratio between some oscillating particles or the there are some devices, movement of the devices. It is written in the talk, but I have not included here because I think it is not important for MCQ point of view. What is pitch? So only remember to do pitch is inversely relation to radiation. Okay, pitch increases, radiation dose decreases. Pitch decreases, radiation dose increases. Is it clear?
Okay, it means that if the pitch is higher, then the image is not that clear. It will be having.
Yes, yes. If the pitch is very high, the image is not that clear. But in some conditions, they say that we need to increase pitch, like higher BMI and cardiovascular implanted electronic devices. Okay,
Okay.
okay. So what in they have given the example of using lead sheets in mammography. In which category we have read mammography for in fetal radiation doses? Very
It's
low.
low,
Very low.
very low.
Yes, excellent, very low. So it is 0.0012, 0.01 millicurie. But again, if we still use the lead shield, it again reduces this effect to 50%. Okay, so always if it is very low, we have to follow the ALARA, as low as reasonably achievable dose of radiation. So this is about ultrasound. So what do you think? Ultrasound has any bad effects on baby or not?
No.
But
Previously, actually,
it's
yeah,
because of temperature and some it's like during it tissue it increases the tissue temperature, so it could be some there could be some effect. There is been studies this.
excellent. Ultrasound is perfectly safe, but now because previously there were simple ultrasound machines and there were very less scanning time. So now the important point is the effect ultrasound can have due to the thermal effects on tissue temperature and mechanical effects. So there are two parameters or two indexes which we need to keep under control: thermal and mechanical. What happens with these effects? There could be cavitations. What are cavitations? Cavitations refers to the development of gas bubbles in tissues exposed to ultrasonic vibration. Nervous system is more susceptible. Nervous system is more
Dr. Tapa, your
so
voice
yes,
breakdown.
yes, I think after 10 o'clock my internet connection becomes slow. We change the position. Okay, is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so what does thermal and mechanical effects do? They causes cavitation. And what is cavitation? Cavitation is the production of the gas bubbles in tissues. Okay, and these cavitations could be temporary and could be permanent. We do not know. Sometimes they are temporary and sometimes they are permanent. So when is the risk is least? Risk of temperature elevation is lowest in B mode imaging and is higher with color Doppler and spectral Doppler application. That is why they do not advise to do Doppler examination of every patient because it increases the risk of temperature elevation. Again, here use ALARA to control thermal and mechanical index. Overall, it is thought that there is no significant effects of ultrasound unless fetal exposure is prolonged longer than 60 minutes. Usually, there is no ultrasound which is longer than 60 minutes. It means 1 hour. Okay. So if MCQ come about the effects of ultrasound and it is a this scenario gives very short ultrasound like 5 or 10 minutes, so it is only gray mode or B mode, then you will write it is perfectly safe. But if it says if a women is the ultrasound is using color Doppler or M mode and it is for prolonged periods of time, then you need to think about it could have some effects. Yes, so what are the two indexes which we need to keep under control in ultrasound?
Dr. Tagwa,
Thermal and mechanical.
Dr. Tagwa, one
Okay.
question.
And what does thermal and mechanical effects do?
Cavitation.
Cavitation.
Now,
Dr. Tagwa, I have a question.
voice is broken. Voice is broken. Am I audible clearly?
Your voice is very low. What is B mode?
Because it's like a box and women is closed in it. So this is called claustrophobia. Discomfort, obviously, because there are certain sounds in that area. And supine hypotension, patients lying supine, so we have to keep a wedge if possible to prevent the spine hypotension syndrome. What are the fetal complications? Increased exposure to a magnetic field. Okay, and so there is a risk of teratogenesis, but again it is theoretical, has not been proven. So MRI can be done again if the maternal benefits outweighs the risks. Now we know in most of the guideline it is written when you have to proceed above ultrasound, then usually they say go for MRI other than rather than CT scan. Huh? So after ultrasound, MRI is the safest. Gadolinium contrast is usually used with the MRI to enhance the sensitivity of the MRI. It is used for tumors, abscesses, or demyelination of brain. Usually for brain problems, gadolinium contrast may be used. In first trimester, it causes teratogenesis. In second and third trimester, it crosses through the placenta and excreted through kidneys, so it causes nephrogenic fibrosis in the fetus. So first trimester teratogenesis, second or third trimester nephrogenic fibrosis. It is therefore recommended that gadolinium contrast be avoided in pregnancy unless the benefits clearly outweighs the possible risk to the fetus. So in gadolinium contrast, they say with surety that it causes teratogenesis and nephrogenic fibrosis. So informed consent taken for the patient, because if there is a tumor in the brain and patient is pregnant, maternal health always come first. You have to, if you need it, and the concerning doctor advises that it must be done gadolinium scan, then you will tell the patient all the risk and benefit and take an informed consent before going for gadolinium contrast. So what does gadolinium contrast do in first trimester
It is teratogenic.
and in second and third trimester?
Nephrogenic fibrosis.
And specifically it is used for which purpose?
Brain tumors, abscess,
Abscess, okay.
and demyelination. Brain
And
demyelination.
demyelination problems. So what are the nu- nuclear imaging? Nuclear medicine imaging. Okay. Nuclear medicine imaging determines organ function by tagging a chemical agent with a radioisotope, radio tracer. Okay, the examples are pulmonary ventilation perfusion scan, thyroid bone scan, and renal scans. There are three types of isotopes or radio tracers are used. We will discuss three one by one: technetium-99, radioactive iodine, and the PET. So technetium-99 used usually technetium-99m is the safest, okay, from all the three. Scanning to diagnose pulmonary embolism in pregnancy, gamma ray emitter, and has a half-life of approximately 6 hours. Fetal radiation exposure less than 5 milliGauss, which is very less. So we have discussed in you have must have read it in the thromboembolism guideline. If you have to proceed for ventilation perfusion scan, you can omit the ventilation component. In place of ventilation component, you can only do the X-ray and you only do the perfusion component to reduce the radiation dose. Okay, so it can be used. Technetium-99. The whole point of this is technetium-99 and can be used. Radioactive iodine assessment of thyroid pathology readily crosses the placenta and has a half-life of 8 days. Remember, in technetium-99 has a half-life of 6 hours. Radioactive iodine has a half-life of 8 days and may cause fetal hypothyroidism, especially if used after 10 to 12 weeks of gestation. Because why after 10 to 12 weeks of gestation?
Because thyroid start developing after 12 weeks.
Yes, and
think
it
after
produces
10
its
to
own
12.
thyroid. It does not depend on mother's thyroid. So if it then after 10 to 12 weeks it causes fetal hypothyroidism. So better to avoid radioactive iodine. If a diagnostic scan of thyroid is essential in pregnancy, then we can use technetium 99M is the isotope of choice in place of radioactive iodine. So about PET. PET is used for malignancy in pregnancy. The radio tracer used in PET is 18FFDG, highest risk of radiation exposure in first trimester. When medically indicated in pregnant women, 18FFDG PET scanning should not be withheld for fear of excessive radiation exposure to the fetus. So always remember whenever there is a uh, risk of malignancy and there is no other investigation which is better than we are going to perform, then do not think about baby, think about the mother. Like we have discussed in gadolinium, if it is necessary, discuss with the woman and go ahead. Likewise in PET, if it is necessary in malignancy, then discuss with the mother and go ahead. Mother comes always at priority. Okay. So now who is going to tell me technetium 99 can be used or not?
Yes, it's
Yes,
safest
safe
and
it
we can
should
use.
be.
Okay, it is safest among the radio tracers. And what about radio iodine?
It should be avoided, and but we
Why?
have to
Why
wait.
After
avoided?
12 weeks,
It
Long
causes
high
fetal thyroid.
is it causes fetal hypothyroidism, especially after 10 to 12 weeks.
Yes, excellent. And if we have to go for thyroid scan in pregnancy, then
better to use technetium 99.
yes. And what about PET? The
But
PET tracer is 18FFBG. And what about it if we have to use?
we have to weigh the risk and benefits.
Yes, yes. And we will discuss with the mother.
Mother.
Okay, now we are done with all the investigations. And now we are going to discuss the radiological investigations, common medical disorders. At the end of the talk, some of the medical disorders are given and the and related investigations are given. In my point of view, MCQs can come from this topic from here on. So what about if a woman present with calf? Okay, you tell me. If a woman present with calf pain and swelling, what is the first line of investigation?
Doppler ultrasound.
Of
Doppler
of
legs.
legs, yeah. And if a patient presents with the shortness of breath,
Ventilation
First line
technique.
X perfusion ratio.
only
VQ
shortness of
scan.
breath. VQ. But what are you thinking? What do you have in mind with shortness of breath?
Pulmonary
Pulmonary
edema can be
embolism.
there, chest X-ray.
Yes,
Chest
and chest
X-ray.
X-ray. Yes, excellent. So first of all, chest X-ray. Very good. So, um, with calf pain and swelling, first line compression duplex ultrasound, shortness of breath, ECG. In cardiac problems, there could be shortness of breath, and then the
पहले वाला में
chest radiograph. So now the suspicion, there is suspicion of pulmonary embolism. So you must have discussed. Now who is going, before I tell you, who will tell me that uh, what is more good, CTPA or VQ scan?
CTPA good for fetus and VQ scan for mother because
Yes, excellent.
CTPA
Yes, I
radiation
agree.
exposure to maternal breast is more
Yes,
in
excellent.
case of CTPA.
So the same thing is repeated in this talk article, like it is written in the guideline. Both has its own benefits and risks. We have to decide accordingly. CTPA is readily available, low fetal radiation, superior identification of other pathology like pneumonia. But the drawback is 20 milligauss radiation to the maternal breast increases the risk of breast cancer. And about VQ scan high negative predictive value for pulmonary embolism. So if it says there is no pulmonary embolism, then there is no pulmonary embolism. Low radiation to breast tissue. Drawback. What is drawback of VQ scan? Increased risk of childhood malignancy due to increased radiation dose. Okay. So if a woman comes to you and she has a previous history of breast cancer or any risk factor for breast cancer, what would you advise her?
VQ.
VQ scan.
So and if you are VQ scan, then what component you can omit
Ventilation.
Ventilation.
at the place of ventilation? What will you do?
Chest X-ray.
Chest X-ray. Yes, excellent. Okay. And if the patient is in very severe hemodynamically unstable and very critical condition, then you can go for CTPA because it is readily available. Okay. So, if a woman presents with abdominal pain, most common cause of non-obstetric pain in pregnancy are the appendicitis and cholecystitis. Please remember this point. Most common cause of non-obstetric pain in pregnancy are appendicitis and cholecystitis. So, primary imaging modality in any kind of abdominal pain could be ultrasound, it could be MRI depending upon the condition. Now we will discuss when are we going to do ultrasound and when MRI. Ultrasound is used for first line investigation to image the appendix, bowel, hepatobiliary tree, renal tract and adnexa. If we think problem any of these things, then we will go for ultrasound. And MRI for inflammatory bowel disease, bowel obstruction, fistulas, abscess formation, or if ultrasound is inconclusive, then we will go for MRI. Okay. Otherwise, MRI for inflammatory bowel disease, please remember these indications. MRI for inflammatory bowel disease, bowel obstruction, fistulas, and abscess formation. Two things for bowel: inflammatory bowel disease and bowel obstruction. Okay. Fistula, again, fistula can come in bowel, and abscess formation.
Abscess leads to fistula.
Sorry? Abscess and fistula both.
No, I'm saying to remember. Sometimes abscess leads to fistula.
Yes, excellent. Yes, excellent. Yeah. Abscess, fistula can be can lead to fistula. To remember, the two bowel and two abscess and fistula are interrelated. Okay. So now about there is also given in headache in pregnancy a small discussion, but I have not included here because we have discussed in very detailed headache in pregnancy. The points were from the same talk article, but this important table you need to do. Look carefully. When you at a glance, what investigation you see most in recommended imaging? What investigation you see most at a glance?
CT.
MRI, right? So there is only one indication in which MRI is not advised: subarachnoid hemorrhage. The second one, first is acute cerebrovascular accident. The second is subarachnoid hemorrhage. In only subarachnoid hemorrhage, non-contrast enhanced CT is advised. Otherwise, in every other investigation, either MRI or CT is advised. Okay. In acute stroke, CT, MRI, and angiography. In CVT, central venous thrombosis, MRI, MRV, and arterial dissection, cervical MRI, Doppler scanning, pituitary tumor MRI, choriocarcinoma MRI or CT. They are not going to ask you in which cancer which investigation need to be done because it is not your field. But you at least need to remember that which investigations are options. So in subarachnoid hemorrhage, there is only non-contrast enhanced CT, and others are all present. In all other MRI and CT are present. Fetal exposure following CT of the maternal head is estimated at 0.001 to 0.0 millicari, which is very less. So what about breast mass? If a woman comes with breast mass, Breast cancer is the leading cause of death between 35 to 54 years old women. Women presenting with breast mass in pregnancy persisting for more than 2 weeks should be referred to MDT. Any type of mass, if women says that more than 2 weeks it is present, you should refer her to MDT that will decide what to do next. But if there is a mass in one breast, both breasts should be evaluated. So what are the methods to evaluate breast? First of all, first line investigation, ultrasound and tissue biopsy. You will do ultrasound and if there is any suspicion, you will take tissue biopsy. This is the first line investigation. If on biopsy, histopathology, there is a suspicion, there is malignancy, then you will go for mammograph. Again, who will tell me mammography was in which category? Low, moderate or
Very low,
high?
very low,
Very low, yes.
very low.
Very low. So after mammography and looks, first of all we are investigating, second number we have diagnosed. Now after diagnosis mammography, now we have done mammography and we have diagnosed there is cancer. Now there is a risk of metastasis. So if there is high risk of metastasis, you will do chest radiograph and liver ultrasound. And at the end, if you have to go for staging, then MRI with gadolinium contrast. But what does gadolinium contrast do? Gadolinium
Neurological.
contrast. First trimester, second trimester.
Yes, first trimester teratogenic,
Nephrogenic
for
in
second
first trimester,
trimester
nephrogenic fibrosis in second and third.
nephrogenic fibrosis in
Yes.
second trimester.
We remember first trimester causes teratogenesis, second trimester causes nephrogenic fibrosis. We have said we are sure about gadolinium causes teratogenesis. So we have to tell the patient if the breast surgeon says it is necessary or oncologist says it is necessary to go for gadolinium scan, then we will. What we will do? We will take the informed consent from the patient
Consent
and
from the mother.
yeah, excellent. Consent from the mother and tell her risk and benefits and can go for MRI with gadolinium contrast. So now who is going to tell me what is the first line investigation for evaluating the breast mass?
Ultrasound
Ultrasound and tissue
and tissue
biopsy.
biopsy.
There is a malignancy on tissue biopsy,
Mammography,
Mammography.
mammography.
mammography. And we have a high index of suspicion of metastasis.
Liver ultrasound and chest
Liver
X.
biopsy.
And then
And
Just X-ray.
for staging,
MRI with contrast
gadolinium.
gadolinium.
in that case you can say MRI with or without gadolinium because gadolinium will be decided by the consultant. Okay. So this was all about the breast, the imaging in pregnancy. There is one talk article remaining, acupuncture in pregnancy. I have decided because it is very short and I think 3 or 4 slides. I will do it in the next session with something else.
Same to you, ma'am, and everyone.
And everyone
Eid
As
Mubarak
go
to
and
everyone.
eat a
Yeah, our Eid is started.